Welcome to Everyday Enlightenment. I'm your host, Patty Teal. Today I'm coming to you from Sedona Mago Retreat, 190 gorgeous acres in the high desert in Sedona, Arizona. My guest today is Purim Bair. He and his wife Susanna are the creators of Heart Rhythm Meditation and the authors of 3 books, including the spiritual classic, Living from the Heart. In 1988, Purim and Susanna formed iamHeart, the Institute for Applied Meditation on the Heart, and later established the University of the Heart. They'll be coming to Sedona Mago Retreat for a New Year's retreat, December 29th through January 3rd, and that retreat is called Making Decisions with Intuition and Divine Guidance. And then also they'll be in Santa Barbara at La Casa de Maria, April 13th through the 18th, to lead a retreat called Metaphysics of the Heart. Welcome, Purim. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So those guests who tuned into an earlier show got to hear your wife describe this specific type of meditation. Can you describe it again for us, what it is, the heart meditation, heart rhythm meditation?
That's what we call it, heart rhythm meditation. It's an emphasis on the heart. Basically, you breathe through the heart in time with your heartbeat. So those are the key points, and we use a full breath. We use more breath than one usually is taking. And the reason for that is that the depth of breath equates to the depth of emotion. So this is a practice that not only using the physical heart makes it healthier, but it uses the emotional heart. And we say it cures the wounds of the heart. The wounds being emotional wounds. And that's done by the way we breathe.
Oh, that's so very interesting. And so can you heal grief with this type of a meditation?
Yes. Mm-hmm. We can heal anything. It's the heart.
Wow.
We think the heart has a mechanism inside itself, of itself, to heal itself. Mm-hmm. We just have to give it 2 things, attention and energy. And we do that by thinking of the heart and sending breath into the heart. And then it heals itself. It works very well at the physical level. We have instruments we measure the heart health with. And we are fussier, let's say more specific about the health of the heart than a typical cardiologist is. Because cardiologists don't mind if your heart skips a beat or a little bit irregular. They say that happens to everybody. We say, no, that's a sign of, the heart is weakening. It's not operating as it should. The job of the heart is to establish the rhythm for the whole body. And so if it's skipping beats and becoming irregular, that's not good. The whole body gets out of sync. So we want a very, we call it a coherent pattern in the heart rate. And we create that by the meditation.
Most people have, at some point in their life, had actual heartache, heartbreak, or you can actually feel an ache in your heart with sadness. So by breathing into your heart, can you relieve that?
Yes. The heart has this ache because it's like a signal. It says, pay attention to me. I need help. And people typically don't think about their heart unless they're having pain, So the heart has to revert to it. It has to use this signal of pain to get people's attention. Well, what if you gave attention to your heart before the pain? It builds up a strength, and we become more resilient, more capable. We talk about a capacity, that the heart has a capacity. Well, how much can it handle? How much emotion can you handle? How much emotional strain can you handle? How much, or do you burn out? One of the signs of an expanded heart, a great heart, is the ability to have 2 emotions at the same time. So when a person that you love dies, for instance, you have grief, but you also have a sense for them, perhaps a relief from their suffering. One can be at the same time feeling the inevitability of their release from life, the same time we feel the loss of our connection to them. And these are the complex things of life. These are the juicy things of life where it's not simple anymore. It's like we feel multiple things at the same time. The ability to handle that is heart capacity. Like we say in English, to have a big heart. You have a big heart, and you don't get exhausted easily. You don't get emotionally burned out easily.
That's beautifully said. I found your background quite fascinating. Computer science, electrical engineer, finance, an analyst for several mutual fund companies. Typically, you think of somebody who's left-brained, maybe not in touch with their emotions, but obviously that's not the case with you. And it probably helps you to prove the case of all these meditations working. How does that background fit in with what you do?
Not very well.
Okay, that's funny.
I had to learn a lot about emotions. It wasn't in my training. I got into engineering and mathematics because it was clear. I thought it was objective. Grew up with a heartbreak of losing my father. Instead of trying to handle that, I had no idea how to handle that. Mm-hmm. I went into science where that wasn't an issue. It didn't come up, and just sort of buried that all. Susanna has been tremendously helpful, my wife, helping me explore the depth and the richness of myself, which is in the heart. The mind is simple. The heart is complicated and wonderful. And when the heart turns on, it's like life becomes technicolor instead of black and white.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I enjoyed speaking with Susanna. She has a lot of theater background where definitely you have to be in touch with your heart and you have to call upon those emotions so that you can be an actor, and you have to feel it to be a good actor. So I could see how you would definitely complement each other. She's the lead teacher in our school, and it's become international. It's gotten to be a big deal. Wow. Where's the school located?
In the ethers.
In the ethers. Well, you don't need to have brick and mortar anymore, so the ethers is a good place for it to be, isn't it?
We have our office here in Tucson, and we do a lot of teaching in Tucson. Mm-hmm. But we don't yet have a building. We're working on that. Mm-hmm. We're working on it. But we teach a lot through the internet and through Zoom, as you're using Zoom. Mm-hmm. Nice platform. And we do group retreats. But we do them all over the place. We rent facilities, and we'll show up in Santa Barbara, and we'll show up in Sedona at the Mago Retreat Center, which we love.
Right.
And in London, Salisbury, London, and some places in the East Coast.
That must be very fun to travel around and meet people from all walks of life.
Yeah, and we go to Taiwan and Korea and Austria and places in Europe.
Wonderful. Can you briefly describe what the New Year's retreat will be like that you and your wife are leading here?
Well, it's a great time, to consider the past year and whether it met our goals and our hopes. Usually by the time the New Year's comes around, we've forgotten the goals of last year anyway. But we still have sort of a remembrance of what we hoped would happen. But the big deal is planning for the next year, because intention is so important. What you intend to do has an effect on what you will do. You can do the same thing with two different intentions, and it turns out different. So even if you have the same job and the same house and the same spouse, and if your intention changes, things change. So we want to set an intention for the next year. But we don't want to do this out of our logical mind, because the mind just doesn't have the bandwidth. It doesn't have the wisdom to really plan things well. That joke about how do you make God laugh? You tell God your plans.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But what if you ask God, what's up for me? Where's my growth edge? Every living organism has a kind of growth edge. It doesn't grow in every direction at the same time. It has some aspect of itself that's in development, and it changes from time to time. But so where's the growth edge of my life right now? I want to be part of that. I want to be aware of that, and I want to help. I want to help that growth happen. And then what am I really good at? What am I world class at? Everybody's world class at something. And then there's the question of what is needed. I like to ask people, what do you think the world needs most right now?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own answer. Which is good, because everybody should take it from their own place. And then comes the shocker. Okay, if that's what you think, I let everybody answer, Then I'd say, all right, if that's what you think the world needs most, why aren't you devoting every hour and every dollar to that? Oh, well, then those excuses come. I couldn't, I'm not able, I can't, really? Maybe something you could do towards that. But that gives us the direction, Even if we don't spend all of our time on it, at least we have a horizon, we have a point we're aimed at.
And those answers come during heart rhythm meditation, I'm assuming?
They do. They come out of the heart, because the mind just doesn't have a clue. It makes up things, It has its imagination, but the heart knows.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. And when you focus on the third eye, you're saying that may not be as much what you need to get in touch with as focusing on your heart?
The third eye is a great energetic center, and it provides just incredible insight, which we need. We use all the chakras. We just want to have the heart in charge.
As it should be.
Yes, it has to run the show. We use all the other centers as resources. So you have some insight into what's happening in the world, in your world. And then there's the question of, well, what can I do about it? But even the feeling of what's happening requires sensitivity. It requires, an emotional awareness. It's not just something you can do in cold blood, we say, cold blood, like rational. Mm-hmm. The third eye can still be rational because it's objective. You see, you're observing. And as long as you're observing something, you're not in it. The heart is in it. The heart's all in.
Yes.
It doesn't observe. It feels.
It's a part of the whole thing, that's for sure. The main part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
This is I probably know the answer already, but I'd like to ask you, do people ever not get an answer when they ask these questions to their heart?
No, they always get an answer, but it might not be from their depth. But that's okay. It's a process. We have to
start, yeah.
learn how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the answer that really comes from the depth of your heart is frightening.
Oh.
Because it's unexpected, and it's big, and it's right when it comes. And then it's like, now what do I do?
Oh. So you might get goosebumps, huh? You might go, ooh, where did that come from?
Goosebumps big time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel responsible, like, okay, I asked and I got the answer. So now I know. Now, where's my excuse now?
Right.
So I know what I should do. I know my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not doing it. Wow, that's really bad.
But it's great to know that you always get an answer. As you said, there might be deeper layers, but you get a starting answer anyway.
You do. You get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
The answers come from within. Everybody says that. But where within,
Yeah.
Some people get an answer from their gut. Some get it from their mind. Some get
Mm-hmm.
it.
So what a great way to start the new year. Maybe get a focus of what you want to do with the next year and possibly even the rest of your life. And then you have this retreat at La Casa de Maria, one of my absolute favorite places, called the Metaphysics of the Heart, and then talks about the 7 planes of the heart. I don't know anything about this. Can you kind of tell us about this retreat?
Yeah, well, see, what we mean by the metaphysics of the heart is that the heart is it's a multi-layer thing. It's got there's an organ, of course, and then there's the emotional center that we call heart, and then there's another level of heart that we call the spiritual heart, which is like a portal. It's an access point to everything. It's the way we're connected to everything else. And so, by going deep into the heart, you actually it feels like you're going deep inside yourself, but you end up experiencing everything else. And we call this the universal heart. So the metaphysics of the heart is something like, there's one heart. That song by the reggae star, one love, one heart.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there's one heart. And so then each of our hearts is an instance of that. It's like a reflection of it. So we feel in our hearts everything that the heart of humanity feels, not equally strongly, but humanity is going through enormous changes. And those emotions that's happening anywhere, they happen everywhere. And every heart feels what every heart feels, or what the one heart feels. So how to deal with that, how to understand that and work with it so that it can be an advantage. It's not a problem, it's an advantage. It's our way to connect to God through the heart. And
can
so
it be a problem when people feel the pain of people that are going through horrible times? Can that be a problem, or can you learn to have a more objective view?
Not objective, no. What we learn is to combine that with all the breakthroughs that are happening. People are dying, people are being born, people are suffering, people are getting married. Everything. So if you incorporate the whole thing, you can handle it.
I understand.
It's like a piano. If you've got all the notes going, it can be amazing. But if you just focus on one note, well, it can be, pretty boring or stressful. But so, yeah, grief is there, but so is joy, incredible joy, And so why do people focus on the grief and the sadness there's also joy? So it's kind of like you need to have that pointed out. Somebody else to help you remember. While you're suffering, there's also joy. Can you do both? Because if you can do both, then you can handle it. And also, when you're just feeling immense joy, you can get very out of balance. You get giddy. You get one can get unbalanced, like manic. So what people try to do who don't understand the heart is they try to minimize all emotion and just stay in the middle and avoid both extremes. Just stay in the middle. But what that's really doing is throwing away the best part of human existence. But what we want to do is expand and take in everything. And that's also safe. And it's richer and more exciting.
Yeah. My friend who's from Belgium, she always says, I just want to squeeze the life out of everything, So I think
Beautiful.
maybe make it, have a juicy life that encompasses everything. Yeah. Is this Metaphysics of the Heart retreat, which is April 13th through the 18th at La Casa de Maria, should one be a more advanced meditator, or is it open to anyone who wishes to come? What would you say about that?
It's open to anyone, and it's very advanced. Because this meditation, we get a lot of people that have done TM for 30 years, Vipassana for 20 years, something like that. We have a lot of those people because whatever method you're doing, it reaches a ceiling at some point. And if you try heart rhythm meditation, I think you'll find that the ceiling is further, can go further. And the reason is because we're using emotion. We don't disparage emotion, as I've heard some people do. We think, no, emotion's the juicy stuff. That's where we're real. And so we have a meditation which enhances emotion. And we make friends with it. We learn about it. We become familiar with it, and we use it. Emotion is like the wind in the sail. If you can harness that, you can really go somewhere. And trying to turn down emotion is like, turning off the wind. Why would you want to do that? It's power. Emotion is power.
So, it sounds very healthy to be able to embrace all the different emotions that we as humans have, and there are a lot of them, probably not even names for all of them, but it is tempting to want to stay in that joyful spot. I can understand that, but I think your description of it being like a piano with all the notes and the octaves and to just embrace it all is quite beautiful.
Yeah, naturally we want to stay in the joy. It's just that it's impossible. Because life is a cycle, and it goes up and it goes down, and so if all we're happy with is that we just want to stay in the joy, then we'll have periods of contentment and discontentment. That's not the way to live. We want to be at peace in ourselves, at home, all the time. So Rumi, that poet, Jalal Rumi, he talks about this. He says that everybody's running a guest house. Like a tavern, and you run a tavern and you get all kinds of visitors. And there's visitors you like and visitors you don't like, but your door is open. And not to worry, because you're the owner of the tavern, and you can ask anybody to leave. But the richness is to get to know all the people of the town. You know? Invite everybody into your tavern, which means all the parts of yourself. Invite all the parts of yourself to be conscious and expressive. And you'll find that it does work. It works together. They do harmonize.
They do?
If you try to keep somebody out, what do? You know?
They try to break in, don't they?
They try to break in. They make a mess. They make a lot of noise. So just invite them in, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll get along.
Yeah. How often, well, two questions. How often would you recommend people who are just starting that they could experience this heart rhythm meditation every day? How many times a day? And then I wondered how often you do it.
I meditate a lot. We ask people to meditate 20 minutes in the morning. And then if they want to, they could meditate at 20 minutes right before they go to sleep as well, because that'll change their sleep. A lot of people have trouble sleeping. And you can help yourself sleep by preparing the way through meditating right before you go to sleep. So you actually in bed, sit up in bed, prop yourself up so you can so you're sitting up straight in bed, with your legs out in front of you, and meditate for 10 to 20 minutes, and then lay down. You'll have a different sleep experience. And then in the morning, do it again, and prepare for the day. And these retreats that we run, you know, that we always start from the beginning. We always have beginners, and we love beginners, and we don't steamroll them. We start from the basics. Bring everybody in. But it is an advanced meditation. It takes you to enlightenment.
Wow. And what is enlightenment? That might seem like a silly question, but you know, the word is tossed around a lot. So what would you call enlightenment?
What we call enlightenment is the experience of the whole thing, the whole being, everything at once. No boundary, all emotions. There's no limitation to the self. There's no physical. Your sense of physical self is limitless. Your sense of emotional, energetic self is also limitless. There's no boundary anymore, and so you become part of everything. We have an expression for it. We say, "I am part of everything, and everything is a part of me."
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, gosh, I really need to start meditating. This sounds wonderful. I know you have some meditation samples. I believe you have a YouTube channel and a website. Could you tell our listeners where that is?
Yeah, our website is iamHeart. You know, we pronounce it iamHeart, but there's an A in there, iamHeart.org. That's our website. And on our website, we have podcasts, lots and lots of podcasts. And we have some videos. And then we have a YouTube channel by the same name, iamHeart. The IAM stands for the Institute for Applied Meditation on the Heart. That's our long name. Mm-hmm. The Institute for Applied Meditation on the Heart. In short, iamHeart.
iamHeart. It's a great name. And I noticed that these events that we talked about, both the one at Sedona Mago Retreat, Making Decisions with Intuition and Divine Guidance, December 29th is when it starts. And then the other one, Metaphysics of the Heart, which is in the spring, April 13th through the 18th at La Casa de Maria. If you go to iamHeart.org and then click on the events page, you can find both of those and learn more about it, and even other places that you go. So I have thoroughly enjoyed learning about this, and I need to get in touch with everything that I am, and I want to do this myself. So thank you very much for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. I really love it. Thank you.
Thank you.